I want to talk about something really quick. I wanted to kind of have a brief conversation. Most of the people that follow me are fighting game fans, or at least at some point were fighting game fans, or play them casually, competitively, whatever. Fighting games, as you guys know, are super fucking hard to play, right? First and foremost, I feel like fighting game players don't give themselves enough credit for actually being fighting game players. The reason why I'm making this a point is because if you guys think about it, fighting games are probably one of the least popular genres in the gaming world, right? You got games like Call of Duty and Halo and fucking Battlefield where you have millions of people playing online, running around shooting at each other. You don't have millions of people online playing Tekken. You don't have millions of people online playing DOA, Street Fighter. Even the most popular fighting games, Mortal Kombat. You don't have millions of people playing those games. New Battlefield game comes out, you have millions of people on the planet playing those games. Not to take anything away from shooting games, because I actually do have a background in competitive shooting games, and I know how hard they can be, especially at like that higher level when you start competing. However, from a casual standpoint, a shooting game player can just pick up a shooting game and just start shooting people and casually being good at it, just because of the simple fact that the mechanics in a shooting game are not nearly as deep as the mechanics in a fighting game. Fighting games are all about math. They're all about knowing when you can and can't attack, what a certain move is doing to you on block. And in all reality, when you look at a fighting game, you look at it as if there's not really much going on from a casual standpoint. Like a lot of people at my job, they'll be like, I don't know how you play those boring ass fighting games. All you're doing is just hitting buttons and mashing buttons. And it's like, how do you play that? That's so boring. It's just fighting the whole time. It's like people really don't understand. And ignorance with fighting games is definitely a big thing for sure. But I feel like fighting game players don't give themselves enough credit, because in order to be good at a fighting game, in order to be solid at a fighting game, it's not easy to do that, right? You have to know generally what you're doing to a certain extent to be able to be somewhat successful in that. You have to know kind of a little bit of the math about what's going on. Some of your character's frame data, moves that are plus, moves that are negative, how to break throws, movement. And every fighting game is different. Whereas, again, I hate to say it, but you can go play 70% of the shooting games on the market right now, and the idea is to point and shoot, and it's not really going to change as much outside of a couple of different mechanics. Like, you got games like Gears of War. Obviously, that's much more difficult to be good at than a game like Call of Duty. Just because of the simple fact that Gears of War actually has built-in movement that you have to learn how to do, wall bounce cancels, things like that. Whereas like a game like Call of Duty, like the most casual person in the world can just pick up Call of Duty and just go to team deathmatch and do pretty well, just because of the fact that shooting games at a casual level, they're not nearly as difficult as fighting games can be at a casual level. You go and play, Street Fighter Online. And even if you go and you play Street Fighter Online at the very lowest level of the ranking system, you're still going to probably get your ass kicked if you don't know what you're doing, because fighting games are so different than any other type of game out there. And I feel like, again, fighting game players don't give themselves enough credit, because even like a casual fighting game player that knows what they're doing has so much more knowledge put into that game than a casual like Call of Duty player. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to know what the fuck is going on in these fighting games. Another topic that I wanted to kind of get into a little bit with this discussion is also why it's good to take breaks from fighting games. Now, there's times where I'll stream for like 6 months straight, and then you guys will see I'll disappear a lot. I'll only stream about 3 to 4 times in a month sometimes. I won't make videos a lot. I think it's really important for people to take breaks from fighting games, because you got to think about it, bro. When you get on these games and you know what you're doing at a decent level, you're constantly thinking about the math. You're constantly thinking about your next combo, constantly inputting certain things, trying to outsmart your opponent, especially if you're playing online, which most people that stream on Twitch, they're going to be playing these fighting games online and competing against someone in some kind of way, shape, or form, whether it's in a tournament or just ranked match, lobby match, whatever. I think fighting games are some of the most stressful games on the planet. Now, if you're just button mashing and you're just doing stuff, that's one thing. But how many people are actually doing that on fighting games? You get on Virtua Fighter, you're only going to bump into about 3 or 4 mashers that are just going to literally be mashing their controller and have no freaking idea of what they're doing, compared to, if you go against a player who's good, which is going to be most case scenario, they're going to at least know somewhat of what they're doing. Even if it's just, all right, I know that up back kick is a backflip. I know that I'm going to spam this whenever I feel like I'm getting pressured. Even that thought process is so much different than just playing a game like Call of Duty, where you're just running around and shooting people and just aimlessly dying and respawning and doing the same thing over and over again, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that you guys will see that I'll disappear a lot of the time, and it's because, dude, I've been playing fighting games for a long time. It's really, really necessary, in my opinion, to take a break from playing these competitive fighting games sometimes, because it's super stressful. Even just like, it's gonna sound crazy, but even getting on here to stream for you guys, I feel a certain level of stress because I don't want to look, even though I do get my ass kicked a lot of the time, especially in games that I don't understand that well, it's very stressful to get on here and get my ass kicked. Like, it's a hard thing to do, especially when I have 30 people on Twitch right now and 16 people. That's 46 people that are potentially going to watch me get my ass kicked. I have to be willing to get my ass kicked in front of you guys, you understand? Some people really don't want to go through that, you know? Some people would rather play their games off stream, or it's just really important, I think, to take a break. And a lot of the times, again, you guys are going to see that I take breaks from streaming and competing. You know, there's been a lot of times where I didn't even want to compete at a tournament because I was so stressed out. I'm like, fuck, gotta get on stream, I gotta play. Everybody's going to know me. They know me in the DOA community. A lot of people are praying for my downfall. A lot of people want me to do well. I don't want to disappoint these people. You know, sometimes going and playing a single player game like a Resident Evil, or, you know, something just a little more casual that you don't really have to be so stressed out playing, I think is really important, especially to take a break every couple of weeks at least. You know, it's fighting games are stressful, man. You put a lot of time into learning how to play them. A lot of muscle memory is required. And definitely, I feel like fighting games will put you on tilt for sure, especially if you have a decent idea of what you're doing. Once you start figuring out what you're doing in fighting games, I feel like it's really easy to get put on tilt. So if you guys are going through a stressful period in fighting games where you're constantly getting mad and you're constantly raging and you're constantly getting pissed off, I really think that it's important to take a break, because you don't want to get to the point where you're starting to hate video games. You know what I'm saying? Like, playing a toxic match can sometimes make you like, be like, fuck this game. Like, I don't want to fucking play this anymore. This guy just key charged me, or fuck this game. This guy just overkilled me, or he's teabagging me. You know, like, sometimes it's just like, you really just need to take a step back, bro, and just chill out. Take a couple days off, go play a single player game, come back, play off stream. You know, don't play anything super competitive, because I feel like that will definitely help the mindset of a lot of fighting game players, especially when it comes to people who are playing for long periods of time. You know, again, the last couple of days you guys have seen, I stopped streaming for like 3-4 days. I really needed to take a fucking break because I was getting really stressed out playing. You know, creating content sometimes can become stressful, especially if, you know, you're on the rise of growing and you want to make sure you're catering to the people who are following your content. You don't want to put anything out disappointing to them. So I definitely think that people should take breaks from playing fighting games every now and then, especially because of how difficult they are, how much of our mind that they take to actually be decent at them and to, you know, really dive into a fighting game, because you're only going to get good at a fighting game if you actually dive into it and apply yourself. So